Hi everyone, welcome into My Chamber TV, but really it is our special edition called Our Village, because our village comes together and makes things better. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me are my co-hosts, Clara Rose and Mr. Paul Friedlander, both from the I almost said West Pasco. The Christian Chamber and the West Pasco Chamber.
Yes.
You guys were here last week, and we were really coming together to let you see what's happening in the community and how there's so much love in this community that you don't see on mainstream news and things like that.
That's true.
So I'm just going to kind of turn over to you guys. In 1 week's time, what can you guys update us with? And by the way, we will also, as soon as we can, give you some telephone numbers to where if you need some disaster relief, we'll get those numbers up like we did last week. So welcome.
Welcome.
Here we are.
We are.
Thank you.
We were just
We're back.
saying, it seems like we were just here.
We're here. Right?
We're here. We are here. Safe,
haven't left.
sound, power.
We haven't left.
That's right.
Quick change of clothes in the back, shower, and
That's
we're
right,
back.
right.
We're back. I'm going to acquiesce to Clara Rose because, as you mentioned before the show started, unlike us being part of the West Pasco area, Clara Rose's chamber encompasses 3 or 4 or 5 different counties.
Yes.
So she may have but she probably has a different perspective of what's going on out there. So share.
That is probably true. Because our chamber covers Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough, we're much larger than a traditional chamber geographically is.
Geographically.
So you guys cover all of West Pasco,
Pasco,
hence
right.
the name West Pasco
That's right.
Chamber, right? So we are different in that we are all of those counties. It is one of the things that is our struggle, of course, is that we're so geographically separated that it's hard for us to all come together.
Right.
So we tend to do little pockets of things, West Pasco pockets and East Pasco pockets.
Right.
Still have our monthly luncheon, of course, that we all come together at Ruth Eckert. But
nice.
I've seen a much broader, outside of just Pasco, I've had a much broader view of what's going on because I'm chatting with my members who are, in Bradenton or in South St. Pete,
Sure.
or in Spring Hill, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting experience for me for my first hurricane to watch people come together in such amazing ways inside their own communities, but across the whole county and then beyond, not just their own counties. So I have a good example. I brought my phone in case I couldn't remember the different people I saw that I wanted to talk about. But Crossbridge Church, which is one of our members goes to Crossbridge Church, and they took a team of 20 people to Fort Myer. And
nice.
So that's not in our community, right? But they came together and said, let's do, these people are hurting worse than we're hurting, right? So here's people who were without power, some of them for a week or better, right? They went through their own hurricane, right? But they still said, okay, let's go help them. And so they went down there, and I think it was Samaritan's Purse perhaps, but they took a team of 20 down there. So I'm watching amazing things, amazing acts of love and kindness
That's awesome.
across the board. Yeah,
Yes.
super cool to see.
That's why I love doing this show and this special edition for our village, because we have a fantastic village, actually villages, I should say, in the whole Tampa Bay area, and actually in the whole state of Florida. I can only represent locally here, but I speak for so many people to raise that awareness. And if you're watching the show and maybe you're not in our community, maybe you're even in a different state, but you have become one of our regular viewers out there, imagine taking this concept and sharing it in your community, because it works. Love works. It does.
Love does work.
It really does.
Just human compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I know it's cliche, but it really is paying it forward. Because who knows when you may be on the other end
Right.
of not being as blessed as we were with this storm when it came through.
Right.
boy, you're not kidding.
And I know even I mentioned it last week. Even Troy, our older son, and another close friend that we used to coach in Little League football and Little League baseball. They put together trailers and like 4 pickup locations for the Keys, and then made arrangements with. They got it down there via truck, but they also have some friends that are pilots, and now they're working on a program right now where they're trying to see what they can do, either for St. Thomas, St. Croix, or even Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is think it's out of the realm at this point because of the limited access and stuff and things. But if there's a way to figure out how to get it on the ground, they will.
How are your friends in Puerto Rico?
I talked to Pocky. I don't remember. I think I had this information last week. I talked to him right after the storm. The storm was what, did it go through on Tuesday the last? Everything seems to just run
It's like
together.
runs together.
But I talked to him right after the storm. He answered his phone. He has an AT&T phone. I'm not trying to advertise for them, but that was why he actually, because the local cellular companies in Puerto Rico were down.
Right.
So that was why he was able to answer it. And it was sort of a crushing, he went to his daughter's house. He was, they survived the storm okay. All the grandchildren, he's got 2 daughters. I think he's got 4 or 5 grandchildren. His mom, an ex-wife, but they all gathered at the house. But at the end, he goes, he said, I don't know if he lives in a high-rise in downtown San Juan. And he started to cry a little bit. He said, I don't even know if I'm guessing my apartment's not there anymore. And I'm not even sure my car will be there. And so he actually Facebook messaged me the next morning, whatever days we're talking about, and he was on his way over, and then I didn't hear from him, so I called him a couple hours later. He answered. So other than the room that Pam and I stayed in when we were down there to visit him, the glass blew in there. The apartment was okay. A little bit, obviously, with the glass blown in. There was some water in there, but nothing not repairable. And talk about being blessed, the water level on the car came up to the wheels but never made it to the frame of the car.
That's wonderful.
So, but
Yeah.
he said, Paul, he said, it looks like, and I'm sure he probably had to walk to get there. He said, it looks like a bomb went off. He said that there's not a leaf left on any tree. And then, of course, in the meantime, I believe the dam at the northwestern part of the island broke. So that ended the island, not down by San Juan, but that end of the island ended up. But it's amazing, even there, the things that people are doing to help get it back. And in some ways, maybe it's a blessing, because I know I don't usually follow the news very much, but I know that they said part of the challenge is so much of their infrastructure was so old
Right.
and in disrepair that it didn't take much for a storm of that magnitude to really take everything out. So, but when you watch that, see what it did, you count our blessings, the fact that it was 1 or 2 when it got here, as opposed to 4 or 5 when it got there.
Well, that was a shock to me.
Yeah, and where do you go? It's not like you can leave Florida and go to Georgia or Illinois or out to the west or something. Where do you go if you're on the island?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we
So-
couldn't get out because of we talked about this last week. What happened is we couldn't get out. There was no gas, right? We didn't know if we'd get gas and didn't want to get stuck on the road, so
Yeah.
we just hunkered down with family, and it worked out.
But you watch all over the place. I mean, even Houston, their neighbors are coming out.
Yeah.
Football. J.J. Watt's raised like $18 million. So it's what you were saying before. It's amazing to see the goodness it brings out in people.
Right.
And you don't want it to be a tragedy, but disasters and things like that, unfortunately, do bring out the goodness.
Right.
I don't. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know that the disasters bring out the goodness. I think the goodness is already there. It gives
Right.
people a
It
chance
is.
to show
Right.
it.
Exactly.
It gives people a chance to show it.
Yeah.
It's that compassion or that empathy that, I'm so sorry, you're feeling your hurt.
Right.
What can I do to help you?
Right.
Comes out in us. And
That's
I think
true.
that's built
And what about, let me
in.
ask a question, Claire, what about how was your members and things that were in the Hillsborough area and things like that? Was there much effect there?
I haven't heard from a lot of people
Okay.
who said that they had a lot of damage. I've
Right.
heard a lot of people have called in to check on me because, I'm the one CEO, right?
Right.
Versus all the members. And everyone's, other than, gosh, we were without power for 7 or 8 days,
Right.
or, so some of and it was hot, right? So that seems like a little thing, unless you're the one who didn't have electricity or shower or refrigerator or anything for a week, and then it isn't quite so little, right?
Well, that's for sure.
And we run a real upbeat show here, but I'm going to bring this up only because Candace Gluen, who was chairman of our board at the chamber, and I'm on a couple of boards with her right now, but her husband is a lineman for Duke. And there were people out there like Jennifer France, who was buying donuts and taking them to the guys, but there was also people out there that ran him off the road because they were mad because they didn't have their electricity. And
Seriously.
I'm thinking, guys, really? Is that going to
'Cause
get your
that'll help.
is that going to get your electricity fixed any faster? People just need to, I know it's tough, but I guess in a sense we're spoiled.
Yeah.
You know.
We are. We really are. I mean, little
We're-
things like
we're-
flashlights, just the littlest, the slightest of little things that we just kind of take for granted.
So, and I'm, you know, the good news is that, again, a lot of good people out there. We're bringing food to them. Some of them we're bringing them water and things like that. But then there's the other ones that are going, this guy works for a company. Why, you know, they wanted your electricity to go down on purpose. That's why.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, right.
it just,
And you're
it just
taking it out on the
amazes me.
person who's out there
They're
trying to
help
fix it
and
for
fix
you.
it.
That doesn't
Exactly.
make any
And
sense.
you know, and he still had a good spirit about him, but I just can't even imagine somebody running you off the road because they're mad about their electricity being off.
Well, people lose their patience. They've already gone
Yeah.
through the trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is where some powerful skill sets and faith come in. As you
Yes.
know, a lot of people, this brought a lot of people to their knees,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is there's more good stories,
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
and there always usually are.
Yeah.
There, exactly.
You know, they're
I'm
always-
getting a little cue here to take a break. So we're going to
Alrighty.
go do some housekeeping and we'll be
Okay.
right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back into My Chamber TV. However, today we are doing our village,
We are
because our
doing our
village
village.
does come together and make things better. In fact, last week we were talking with Paul and Clara about someone who had some help in the community, and Paul jumped to his heels to bring that someone on the show today, and it is Mr. Ed, who I am so glad to have you with us and talk about this experience. Ed's business, small business, which is the Artful Pussycat.
Web Solutions.
And
I'm Clara.
Nice to finally meet you in person.
Nice to meet you. You did some work for us.
I was just going to say, there you are.
And we've never met. Isn't that funny?
I love it. I love it.
Funny.
Well, we were talking about you
Now you
last
guys are
week.
couch buddies.
Yeah, we're kind
How
of buddies.
about that?
Isn't that funny?
Who knew, right?
That's too funny. That's awesome.
And he does a great job. So
does.
if you ever need websites done, but you had a harrowing experience with your home, right?
Yeah, this hurricane really hit us hard. We have our home. We have 2 buildings on the property. We have the main house and the in-law house where my father-in-law lives, which is just 10 feet away, door to door. And during the peak of the winds, when the Hurricane Irma was coming through, a 4 to 5 foot diameter at the base water oak tipped over onto my father-in-law's house, where he was sleeping in bed directly under the tree, and it fell on his house. We saw a bunch of fireworks from the power line out in the side yard, so the power was off. So I poked my head out the side door and turned my flashlight on, and the first thing I saw about 12 feet away from me was this tree on top of my father-in-law's house where I knew he was sleeping. Ceiling caved in, branches came in through the roof, through the...
Oh, here you go.
Oh, pictures.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, oh, here we go. There's some pictures. That's the front of the house. The tree fell from the back of the house. There's the tree from
My word.
the front door of my office. So you can kind of see the length of the basic trunk there. And there's the tree. That's about 4.5 feet diameter at the base.
My.
It's huge.
It was pretty beefy
Look at that.
there.
So you can see the problem is those weeny little roots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a water oak apparently, which they don't have a wide canopy, and they've very shallow, very small.
So that's when you say they tip over.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
Fell
they
right over.
flew out and over. They tipped
Nothing.
over.
It just fell over like a
Wind
domino.
tipped it, yep.
But tons and tons of wood, and it pretty much crushed the entire interior of his house. He was laying in bed. The roof trusses are down on the bed. There was a 9-inch diameter branch.
But he was
that came
okay.
through. There was one tiny little space on the bed that wasn't crushed by anything, and that was basically his space. And he's a Vietnam War vet, and his Navy training kicked in that he sensed something happening, and the old training had just hit the deck, go low, kicked in, and right after it fell, that's how we found him. We got into the back door and found him, just getting up from that hit the deck position by the foot of the bed in like the only air pocket that wasn't crushed by anything.
That was a miracle.
Yeah,
That was a
it was
miracle.
truly
That was God.
it was
my
truly a
word.
miracle. I mean, there's the interior at the right past the chair in the center. You can see the footboard of his bed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, everything came down on
Wow.
top of him like that. We found him in the one little gap by his bed. It was definitely a God thing. I just told him,
Right. Yeah.
God has work for you to do. You're not
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
You're not done here. You haven't done everything you're supposed to do, or you haven't served your time yet.
That's true.
You're done here.
It always happens that way. Oh my good. Look, I can't make heads or tails of this.
Yeah, it was.
Was that the
pretty
roof
harrowing.
caving down?
Yeah.
That was the tree caving down, and
Looks like, is that the mattress in
walls-
the bottom center?
Yeah, that was a mattress at the center there, and that was everything laying directly on his bed. It's amazing. It's a total blessing that he's here with us and unharmed. But I took enough physics in high school that I can look at that bed. That's not survivable.
No.
Yeah, it's not survivable. But by the grace of God.
Yeah.
All things are
Yeah.
possible with God.
I tell you. I tell you.
I'm not here to preach, but I'm just saying.
We either learn or we don't. We either hear it or we don't. So what happened after where all this trauma and shock?
We all went into various stages of emotional trauma, and we're still suffering with that.
Of
too.
course, of course.
Thunderstorms trigger me, and just the couple we've
Yeah.
had since then
Yeah.
just triggers me hard. being that it's not the main house, not attached to the main house, homeowners insurance consider it, quote unquote, other structure, which is the same way they'd look at a shed or a carport or a detached garage.
Wait, don't even tell me what you're
So we have more than enough homeowners insurance coverage, but the portion that they allow for other structures is much smaller than the investment of trying to rebuild the home. So United Way has stepped in, and they were amazing to work with. They actually removed the tree from the home, which was preventing us from even going into the house and getting my father-in-law's belongings because it was unsafe with the tree on the house.
Yeah.
So we had to wait until they could put together the right team of contractors and remove the tree this Saturday. So now we're finally able to go inside and start retrieving what is salvageable of Tommy's possessions. But he just had a brand new, we bought that home just a little over a year ago, and we rebuilt that part of it pretty much from the ground up, new floors, cabinets. He had just personally put in 2 weeks ago a full new air conditioner. They got crushed, but it's just
goodness.
stuff like that. But the rebuilding price is definitely a lot more than what they allow you for quote unquote other structures.
Oh, I hear you.
So thankfully, just the cost to get the tree off the house was $8,000 just to remove the tree before we could even assess the damage. United Way stepped in, a godsend. Alice Delgado and her team have just been a godsend. Not just the financial help with the tree, but just being there as very compassionate beings.
Absolutely. I love Alice. Who doesn't? Everybody loves her.
That whole team.
Yes.
Betty,
yes.
Stephanie, everybody. They're just amazing.
They were here last week.
Patty Sutton was
Patty
here
Sutton
last
was
week.
with
Okay,
us.
Patty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, they were just amazing to have on speed dial and calling to check on us until got that tree removed. So now we're trying to move forward, but the insurance auditor was out and gave us well, you've got X amount of damage and you've got X amount of coverage,
And X amount of deductible.
Yeah. They said, we're probably not going to be able to cover the whole thing, but we'll eat the deductible for you. Well, thank you for that, But so it's an uphill climb. He pretty much lost everything. A lifetime. He's as a matter of fact, today is his birthday. Today's Tommy's birthday.
Happy birthday, Tommy.
Happy birthday, Tommy. God bless you.
He's gonna kill me for giving away the age, but he's 70 years old as of today. Vietnam War vet.
We're throwing a surprise party for you right here.
You're not kidding. And I'm proud to wear my American flag for you, sir.
So he's currently couch surfing at our house until we can get living arrangements taken care of. But things just move slowly. The one thing that just the biggest takeaway for me right now is just the outpouring of love and connection from fellow small business owners, people in the community, people that I had only maybe briefly met once or twice at a networking event, but saw those pictures being shared on the internet that had reached out to me, and first human being other than my family that I saw after the storm was Steve. Was Steve Farrell and Paul that stopped by because he was concerned about me. He saw my posts on Facebook and he read in between the lines that he knew that I just wasn't my tip-top shape emotionally at the time. And as soon as the weather permitted, there was Paul at my door waking me up.
And
I'm not surprised.
And we did wake him up.
Literally waking me up. And then so many people from the chamber and other networking groups and local businesses that had just stopping by every day following the storm, stopping by, whether they could just provide a smile and a hug, or we had no power, no water, no electricity, no running water, nothing, and obviously all this trauma and damage, and people just stopping by, dropping off food, meals, buckets of ice water, chainsaw skills if they have them. Scott Lane, insurance professional, he was out there on day one with a chainsaw, was just trying to cut back enough that we could see pretty much what happened, because it was all just one big bush of green.
Tell our viewers what the size of this tree and the weight that they had to remove.
Yeah, to remove the tree fell in the back of the house. They had take it out in sections. They had to lift it from the back of the house, over an existing oak tree, over utility lines, and then to the side of the road outside. The crane operator was like a surgeon, but they needed 100-ton crane. The crane, because of the distance of where it fell, they could only take it out in 10,000-pound or less chunks. And they took it out in about 6 chunks. So you kind of figure the weight of this tree. It was a massive, very base of the tree was easily 5 foot in diameter, water oak, probably about 4 stories, maybe 5 stories tall. That just fell in one piece and just kind of, had it not been for the fact that it hit another oak tree in the front yard, which caught some of the weight as it came down.
Broke a little bit of it?
It broke some of the fall. It would have just totally flattened that house, and without a doubt, my father-in-law inside.
Wow.
Yeah, when we saw the damage, when we looked, saw the fireworks from the power lines right outside our side door, then stuck my head out and saw that tree there. I mean, we could only assume the worst. It was just an utter shock that we found him, not only alive but unharmed.
And he was conscious and everything.
Yes, and he was just starting to stand up and brushing dust off. I was going, what happened?
And those skill
What
sets,
happened?
skill sets
Oh,
from
yeah.
being a veteran.
Yeah, that was the
Hit the deck, baby.
That was the first thing he said. He's like, I'm not sure what exactly just happened, but I just know somehow that my Navy, go low, hit the deck training kicked in. And that, without a doubt, was a big saving factor, and the fact that he didn't get injured. But I mean, the whole thing is just a miracle. I mean, if you did not believe in any type of higher power before you saw that bed that he was laying in, you would walking away from
Absolutely.
that. I mean, it just fill you with hope, and it's amazing. And the power of the community, Paul joked with me yesterday when he called me and asked if I'd come on today. He said, but the deal is you can't cry.
Oh yeah, no crying.
I have cried so much. I have cried so much, not just tears of grief and loss of the house and the fear of the potentials, but the gratitude of everybody that's come out. I mean,
sure.
Responding to people on Facebook saying thank you. I always end up wiping away because I'm trying to type through tears. I'm just so grateful for everybody that came out. Some people, all they could do is stop by, offer a smile and a hug, and that meant the world to me.
Of course,
just because I felt so alone and helpless, with this unrealistic damage that we had,
Exactly.
and not knowing what to do. I mean, as soon as the sun came up after the storm, I just stood in the yard, just kind of looked at it, overwhelmed, like I don't even know what branch to start with. I don't know what.
Of course.
I was just totally overwhelmed.
And even Steve, when we were there that morning, had a look at that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That piece is about 20 feet long.
And he had to maneuver it over wires.
Yeah,
too,
over the wires, and you can't really tell how long it is because how high it is in the sky.
Yeah.
I don't think I included a shot, but as they showed him bringing it down, and one end's touching the ground, and one end's still up over the power lines as they laid it down.
Wow, Ed.
Oh yeah, astronomically huge, and photos just did not capture the scale of the entire thing.
That is just amazing. Well, I'll tell you, we're out of time. We're going to take another break. Through
Thank
the
you for
grace of
coming
God,
on.
once again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank all of you. And I just want to say, anybody watching this that just sent me, prayers on Facebook, well wishes, just let me know that you were thinking of my family. Thank you so much. I'm just totally blessed by everybody in this community. It's an amazing community, and I'm here just a little over a year now, and I'm never leaving.
Oh, well, there's work for everybody here, and it just shows what this community is all about. Thank you for coming on, and
thank you, Barbara.
It's great that we had all those pictures to show. That was just, I'm still trying to process this, really. But thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
And tell your father-in-law God bless him,
Happy
and
birthday.
get to work.
Yeah.
God
Happy
says.
If you see the GoFundMe link on Facebook, share it.
Oh yes.
Or-
Make sure you tag me on that.
Okay.
All right.
Also, if you just go to artfulpussycat.com/Irma, it will redirect you to the GoFundMe page.
And if you need a good website, check Ed out. Ed Holtzman with Artful Pussycat. And of course, Claire, you've used this gentleman.
Yes, we have.
Consultations are always free.
Yay! Stay with us. We'll be right back. We have an angel in the community. Wait till you see, because she is going to be sporting her crown. We'll be right back.
Angel just made a funny face at me while we were out.
Why don't you bring us back?
Hey, guys, welcome to Our Village TV.
That's
I know
right.
you're used to watching my chamber TV, and it more or less sort of is, but I'm Paul Friedlander with the West Pasco Chamber of Commerce. The host of this awesome show is this lovely lady sitting to my left. You're right, if you're looking at her, is Miss Barbara Marville Kelly. And then we have guests today. We have awesome counterpart of mine from the Christian Chamber of Commerce, Miss Clara Rose, and the ever-present, ever-popular Queen Chasco, Miss Angel Cook.
And
And
Angel is an angel.
Angel is an angel, and we're gonna let Angel start talk about what we've been talking about so far, young lady, and what's going on in the community. And I'm sure you've seen stories of other people stepping up because you and your counterpart, Mr. Our Newport Richey Chief of Police, and King Pithlop, Kim Bogard, who unfortunately is out of town today, but normally we will get a segment where Barb and I will get them both on together.
Absolutely, because they are an amazing team and doing a lot, and I've heard through the grapevine about you. So share with everybody what's going on. I bet you don't even know where to start.
I really don't, because I wouldn't want to leave anything out, so that is really difficult to do. Where do you start except right where you left off, which was with Ed and Hurricane Irma and everything? So much. I'm super blessed. Where you're plugged in at and when you're active in the community, I really wasn't exposed to any kind of negativity.
Right.
It was all positive. I have said it again and again, but Pasco County is just one of the best to live in. There's no other place for it. People being out of power for over a week, or with power and then without power and back and forth, and couldn't go into work because they were out of gas or they were afraid to run out of gas. And the people stepping up was incredible. With King Pithlop, with Kim and the police department, that's just 24 hours. They didn't stop helping our residents and trying to get help out. Our police department, all of our first responders, and then you have all of the community just watching Facebook, watching their phones, waiting for that call for help, and so many people who are not posting about it. They don't need a pat on the back. They do it because they're neighbors, because it's their community.
Yes.
There's a time to step up and you promote because it's a nonprofit and you're trying to raise awareness and all of that. And then it's just your instincts. And that's the community we live in. People who, they're not thinking about, I should post that I went over to this person's house or I did this or I did that. They're just simply doing it. Our county just went right into reaction mode. They ready with a plan. I volunteered at the Pasco Disaster Donation Center, and I'm involved in a lot of events, whether it's just a spectator or on the planning side, it doesn't matter. I know what goes on to make something happen. This was such a huge magnitude to take on in a matter of, I think they put it together in a day or so, and opened up this old super Target, had the volunteers, county employees who were said, listen, we need you to work this. They worked Monday through Friday. They did their job. They're being pulled away from their families to say, will you please come in and staff this? The Rotary Club stepping up and volunteering. So I worked most of the day on Saturday and most of the day on Sunday there. And how incredible. These people just trying to do their part. They're not healthy enough or have enough time to go out and help clear debris from yards and cut down limbs and do all of this. So how are they going to help? They're dropping off. They bought so much water. We don't need it. We're past the storm. Here, give it to somebody else. Their canned goods, clothing. I mean, it was incredible the amount of people for 2 solid weeks coming in through that donation center, dropping off. And then Kim and I went and visited Metropolitan Ministries the following. So I worked Saturday and Sunday there, and then we went on Wednesday to Metropolitan Ministries. Well, those donations from the Pasco Disaster Center went to Metropolitan Ministries, and they just opened their doors up and said, no questions asked. If you're in need, we've got you covered. And so we went there on Wednesday to see the back end of it. So we've taken in the donations. Now we want to see these recipients. And I don't want to say it was heartbreaking because it really wasn't. These families were in a really tough spot, but they were so grateful as we went with shopping carts and bags and we went through, and I'm going, oh my gosh, this is a family of 5. They have children, and I have to tell them, you can have 4 cans of meat. Here, wait, this one's bigger. Are you sure you don't want this one? I I didn't want to tell them no. I wanted to give it all to them, but they were so grateful, and they would say, you know what, we don't really need this big a cereal. Only my son eats it, so we'll just take a smaller one and save it for a bigger family.
See that's the heart.
That's what-
That's the heart of this community.
Exactly.
It was so incredibly heartwarming to see it and to watch the whole. And let me tell you, all the volunteers at Metropolitan Ministry, same thing as the donation center. These people, they can't do, and they were apologizing, saying, well, we can't do this or we can't do that. And I said, what are you apologizing for? I couldn't be here at 8 o'clock this morning when you were here. I could only come at 11:30. Look at you, you've been here. It is so incredible, our community and these people, how much they want to give. There's a job and a place for everybody. And it proved it. This storm really proved it.
It really did. It brought even the better out of the best of the people.
Absolutely.
It truly did.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. I tell you, I raised my kids in Pasco County, and as I said last week, I had no idea the pulse and the heartbeat and the love of everyone here. Thanks to this man here bringing me the West Pasco Chamber, and thanks to John Gaston for bringing me and the awareness that I had no idea when I was raising my children, because I was busy doing all that, wasn't involved. And you guys have been around all this time. So what I'm saying to you guys is check your local community. If you live in the Pasco area, you know what we're talking about here. Maybe some of you, maybe not, but it's just, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yes.
We have only
It's
2
truly
minutes
amazing.
left.
Uh-oh.
Well, that went fast.
I know.
Now,
I
I'm
know.
going to make a comment here. If you're watching this from afar and are not familiar with Pasco County and are wondering why this young lady we call an angel has a crown on, it's not because she thinks she's a big deal. She has a, I'm sorry, John, I touched the mic. It's not because she thinks she's a big deal, but we've had a tradition here in Pasco County called it's called the Chasco Coronation Ball that's been going on since 1922. And these are awarded to people, you heard me mention King Pithla and Queen Chasco, and this has been going on since 1922, and these are awarded to people that give and give and give and give. So in all actuality, she is an angel, and she had the honor of being selected as Queen Chasco last year, and that's why you're watching her with a crown on her head.
And very well deserved.
Yes.
Now, Angel's going to stay with us here for the last segment, and if she wants, she can share a little bit of maybe why she got involved so much and so deeply as one of the pulses of the heartbeat of our village.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, stay with us. serious? Oh, that's a good
That was the one I
mention.
couldn't.
That's a good mention.
And we're back on.
And we're back. We are
welcome.
back. We just keep the show rolling during the
That's
break,
right.
and because there's not enough
You
time.
miss all the good stuff.
Well, Paul was actually, and I'm going to turn this over to you after I bring us back. Barbara Marville Kelly here, Paul Friedlander, West Pasco Chamber of Commerce. We have Clara Rose from the Christian Chamber, and our angel, our earth angel, Angel Cook. It's so great to have
They
you
just can't
all.
let that one go, can they?
She looks good in red, doesn't she?
So we're going to continue on in this last segment, doing as many mentions as we possibly can. And you,
I remembered last week after we left the show, because we talked about we have to be real careful because there's so, like you said earlier,
I know.
there's so many people out there,
Yes.
both
Yes.
business-wise and personal, that have done so much in the community, most of which are not looking for the recognition of it. Most of them just do it because it's the right thing to do, which is really, really nice. But last week we mentioned a couple of businesses, and one of the businesses I failed to mention was, it's a good personal friend and fellow Rotarian of Angel and ours, Jackie Eden, and her husband. They own Carolina Factory Outlet, and they are donating $20,000 worth of mattresses to people that were in need.
that is amazing.
So that was and I feel like it deserves a shout out. And again, please, if you're a business watching this or you're somebody personal that has donated things, I know you all have, but we're not trying to just pick on certain people. We know there's many, many of you, as Clara talked about in the first section, that have opened your hearts and your doors and everything else to people. So, but those were just a couple that we mentioned. Ed, we talked with Ed in the last section about the section before where we talked about how United Way stepped up. And yet, if you were here and watched us last week, and please watch it on YouTube if you didn't, we had Patty Sutton, who's the VP of Community Impact, and she talked about, if you just saw what John posted, the tbdisasterfund.org. That is a group of organizations. I think it's 7 United Ways, but I believe it's the organization that Duggan has moved to down in Clearwater, and that have just, instead of working in opposition to each other, have joined
Right,
forces to be a
right.
bigger force to help people. So
It's very cool. It's very, very cool what's going on. We kept you on, and I know you have more to share, so I don't want to take any more
No.
time here. I want you to share more stuff because it just keeps flowing.
Well, that's a first. Just throw to me. I get to talk to whatever.
Yeah.
Well, back to the community stuff, because that is the most important thing. And, with Hurricane Irma, everything kind of went on a standstill, and it had to because, we went into reaction, and our neighbors needed us, and we have to get back on track. So as we're getting back on track, now everything's starting to flow, and we're trying to get some monies raised in the community, and we've got so many great things that are coming up. Trinity Rotary's got their gala. That's on this Saturday.
Yep.
So that's at the Spartan Manor, and you don't want to miss that. That is Southern Charm is the theme. So you've got the think Gone with the Wind, Pasco County style. So that's going to be a wonderful event. And the King and I are auctioning off our royal dinner. So I'm getting better and better at this. I'm learning a lot with the
this
cooking.
will be, how many times now? This will
This
be the
will
third
be
one?
this will be our fourth dinner. So we have raised about $6,000 so far.
Nice.
With auctioning off the dinner, which is incredible. You know, as King and Queen, and for those of you that don't know, basically once we are chosen, and Paul went into how we're chosen, we just try to bring awareness to volunteerism, and we are, Kim and I are trying to really focus on the nonprofits and the service organizations that are trying to raise money and raise awareness and educate their Pasco County residents and monies that stay locally. So we visit one nonprofit or service organization every week. That is a goal. We have not broken that. We have visited over 47 service organizations and nonprofits.
Wow.
Total so far since we won, which was on March 24th.
Yep.
And then to be able to give back, because we wanted to do a fundraiser and, you kind of pie in the sky ideas. But we realized that we really can't do that because as just two individuals, we're not a nonprofit. So how else can we help? So the night we won, I got a Facebook message that said, "Congratulations, can you help us?" And
I love it. I love it.
And really it's because of her, because we thought, well, we'll do it, but what are we gonna raise? And we don't want to not raise a lot of money, and then we'll be disappointed. We'll be disappointing the people involved. And the community has been so supportive, and they have not gotten tired of us yet. So it just kind of snowballed. So we auction off this dinner. It's a 7-course homemade meal, and I mean down to the whipped cream topping is homemade.
Nice.
It's incredible. We bring a beautiful, incredible china. We have some wonderful community members. Arlene from Spartan Manor, we meet with her before the dinner and we pick out a theme for the winner. And so she helps us with linens, and we decorate the table and centerpieces. Kim has the beautiful china. We bring the wine. We provide everything. We come to the winner's house, and this is for 6 people. So sometimes, and it's so interesting, sometimes it's couples and they all go in, 3 couples go in together. This last one was so much fun. It was a group of ladies, friends that all went in together and had the dinner. We get with them ahead of time via email most of the time, go over the menu, any changes they want to make, find out their favorite drinks, and we bring it all. We set up, we clean up when we leave. They're only left with good memories. So we've raised just over $6,000 with that. So that's been incredible. Actually, it's 6,800, I think. No, I'm sorry, 5,800. 5,800 we've raised.
And that's through 3.
With that's through the 3. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's not only creating memories for them, but for you as well.
It really is. It is so much fun. Now we work that night. There is no.
Oh, I bet.
We don't sit down with the group. We are there. We have 2 wonderful friends that we so lovingly have given the title, and they have just taken and run with it. The royal staff.
I love it.
And so they have shirts, and they come also, and so we all serve. We serve the guests. We clean up again. We pour their drinks. We make sure they have everything that they need. And Kim is just a whiz in the kitchen. It's incredible to watch him cook. So I really have learned a lot. So we are actually online right now to where people can bid on the dinner.
And how do they do that?
So they just register. It's right on Facebook also, but it's through Silent Auction Pro. And they just go right online. They pick the Trinity Rotary events. They register. It takes a minute to register. It's a 1-page thing to register.
So you don't actually have to be there that night.
That's right. And if they get outbid by somebody that night, it actually will ding to the other person online and let them know you've been outbid.
So cool.
So it's really cool. It's the first time that we're using that, but Trinity Rotaries use it. This is their 3rd year using it, so they're pros at it. So that is going on. And then, of course, we have the Spelling Bee, October 17th, that's coming up. Yep. And Kim and I will be there as the bee poppers. So spell correctly, please. We don't want to have to pop your balloons. But that's a lot of fun, and that raises money for each year they change the charity who benefits from that, and that's local also. Yep. And then we have the Cody River Bike Fest coming up, which I'm the volunteer coordinator for. And of course, Kim, with it being in Newport Ridge, he's got the police department that's very involved with it. And so we've got that, and that's October 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
We have the Longleaf Triathlon, which is put on by the Seven Springs Rotary Club, and that is October 15th. I'm the volunteer coordinator for that also.
But of course.
So that's
by you.
So we have that.
It's time to go already.
Oh, there's still more. Check the calendar.
Yes, check the calendar. What's the Facebook page?
It's King, Pithala, and Queen Chasco. All the events are on there, and the link for the dinner.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless you. God bless everyone. This is such a great community. Thanks for joining us on Our Village. We'll see you next time.
Have a great rest of your week.